G'day guys, goeiedag, hoe gaan dit? And kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Yes, he's back! Richie Mounga, he's being added into the All Blacks team as a result of an injury to Billy Proctor, has a fractured shoulder blade. And this is a pretty big addition. A lot of talks about whether or not he's allowed to play for like the majority of 6 months at this point, maybe even longer. But the fact is, the All Blacks had a rule that not only you have to sign with the All Blacks, but you have to play a certain amount of domestic games, whether it be in Super Rugby or the NPC, for him to be available to be selected for the All Blacks. And now I think they did bend the rules a little bit here because I think the rule is they have to play 3 or 5 games or something like that. He's only played maybe one, I know he's played 1, maybe 2 games so far for the NPC. So basically, maybe just on that edge of being available for selections, and he's been added into the team. But I think this is the right thing. You know, here in Australia, as soon as you sign with Australian Rugby, you are available to be selected for the Wallabies, because that is, you know, the best interest for the, you know, for the whole, you know, for the whole nation, right? You signed him because you wanted him to play for the national team at some point. Otherwise, why would you sign him, right? Especially if he's coming back from overseas. So it just makes sense to just immediately able to add him instead of having this loophole of like being able to having to play, you know, domestically for a certain number of games. I do think that in a different sense that if the player is not coming back from overseas that you've specifically picked up, it's just someone that, you know, randomly signed from coming home or something and randomly signed to Super Rugby or to NPC to play rugby, then I think you need a certain amount of time, because it's not someone you've specifically, you know, ventured out to get him back. But in this case, I just think just doesn't make sense for him to be like locked into a certain amount of games before he's even available to play. Why did you spend the money, right? That's the whole question that kind of comes down with. And this just makes sense. But Tana Umaga has been pretty firm that they have a game plan already set out, and whether or not he's going to be able to play at all depends on what happens to people's, you know, fitness and everything. And the fact that Billy Proctor was, you know, it's a center, inside center or outside center, and Richie Mounga is obviously a fly half, and I don't think he can play center at all. He's not that size, have the size for it. So I'm very surprised that they actually caught him up. I think this is something that probably already in their playbooks, regardless who gets injured, they want to just get him up in here. So again, it does show that New Zealand Rugby probably, was planning on doing this well before any sort of injury was occurred anyway. But then again, you know, we're seeing, you know, Malcolm Marx getting replaced by Henry Pollard. It's not something that is completely crazy for a player to be replacing someone that's kind of out of position. Depends on what the team needs. Depends on how the, you know, how the team is traveling and what the coaches are seeing. So obviously, the mighty All Blacks has announced the team this weekend against the Bulls. The Bulls. In what's the place called? You know, what's the place called? Something, and it's something where I don't know. I can't remember. It's the place where someone remind me. Where is it? The place where Wallabies beat the Springboks last year. I can't remember. Someone remind me where this game is played. In the comments and the name of the stadium. Just you know, every time I'm recording, I can't seem to remember. But anyway, the All Blacks has put on another kind of major changes in this team. This time mostly in the back line from the team that was played on Tuesday against the Sharks. Obviously, the Tuesday's team was very, very strong. I thought most of the players probably make it into the starting team against the Springboks, and you know, they you know, if they had to play, they probably could have played this weekend because there's a break of like 7 days before heading to the first Test match. Almost 7 days. But you know, the fact that they, you know, a lot of these players are basically now have a bit more than a week break before the first Test match just really shows that how conscious the coaches are with regards to managing the fatigue. But then again, the Bulls, I just want to say this before we go on the full list, the Bulls is a very, very resilient team. Even though the Bulls has put up a B team or whatever, C team, whatever, there's a very, very resilient team. Like, don't forget, at the Lions tour, 2020, is it 2020? Was it 2021? I think it was 2021, sorry. Where the Springboks had a warm-up match against the Bulls, and they lost. Rusty lost to the Bulls in the warm-up match before the Lions tour. So there's absolutely, you know, you cannot count the Bulls out, and the Bulls play a pretty tight strategy. And there's a reason that they're URC, you know, runner-up, you know, team, because they have a pretty tight strategy and a pretty tight, they have some pretty core, like tight core fundamental skill sets. So yeah, so this All Black team with a lot of the changes they've made, I don't know. They might, this might, this might not be as a straightforward win as you might expect. So coming in first because Xavier Nuvia get added number 1. Cody Taylor returns as well. Had a bit of an injury, and then Tyra Lomax as well had a bit of nursing, a bit of injury. So 3 of the front rowers has been kind of not involved so far in the tour, and the Bulls, just like all the South African teams, are very, very good in the scrummaging. Even in the reserves coming off the bench, in the URC has been outstanding. So, albeit this might be like the B or C front rowers, this might not be as straightforward as you might think. Fabian Holland, I saw, is returning from injury, so definitely some game time. Patrick Tulutu as well, getting added, a bit of injury. So Simon Parker gets caught back at 6. Anton Segner, more game time at 7. Peter Larkai gets number 8 jersey again. Last week, I personally didn't think he had a good game. But a lot of people thought he did really well. I thought he made a few mistakes, but then again, I think consistency will be the most important part for him. Coming number 9, Cordes Ratama. Number 10, Josh Jacob. So 2 Chiefs combinations here, and Jacob has been, playing 15 as well sometimes with DMAC at 10, but this is not a completely, out of the completely, left field combination, so to sort of speak. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to work out. Josh Morby comes in at number 11, who has been absolutely outstanding for the All Blacks. I think he was the big difference in that first match against the Stormers. Anton Lennon-Brown gets moved from 13 to 12. Despite the yellow card, he's been given another chance here. Potentially have to really make sure that his tackling gets in the right here. Riku Ioane gets back in his preferred position at outside center, number 13. Leroy Carter gets caught in number 14, and Bowden. Oh, go Bowden! King Bowden here is back at number 15, which is kind of like the setup they have with DMAC at 15 and Jacob at 10. DMAC had a bit of rolled his ankle a little bit in the game, but they think he's going to be okay. So the words out of the camp is that he's going to be available to play in the first test match, which is the most important, because DMAC has been so good for the 15 jersey, especially working with combination as like a backup playmaker with Ruben Love. And if he got injured on the weekend and he can't play, I would be crying. Like, seriously, it would have been such a huge loss. But with Richie Mounga back, what are you gonna do? You can't put Richie. Maybe you can. Can you put Richie Mounga at 15? And it just doesn't work. It's just not sure how that's gonna work out anymore, because DMAC has been so good in that regard. And maybe you have to put Bowden Barrett to be 15 with Ruben Love, and so many questions will just be left unanswered. So in the reserves, we've got somebody Taukiaho comes number 16. We've got George Bauer, number 17. Siale Lawaki coming number 18. Josh Lord, number 19. Wallace TT, number 20. Carl Preston, who had a pretty good start, in my opinion, against the Sharks, comes in number 21. Timothy Tafatava Nawai comes in number 22. And Imoni Nadawa, who's been outstanding off the bench in the Tuesday against Sharks as well, coming in at number 23. So yeah, I think that, the All Blacks probably would do it, but this... Yeah, don't count your eggs too early. Don't count your chickens too early before the eggs are hatched, is to say. So here's a question for everyone, right? The title here says 4 Boks to face the All Blacks. I can only spot 3. Now the fourth one, I think it's Coetzee, Marcel Coetzee or Van Heerden. One of these forwards that played in either July in the last Rasmus Erasmus has brought on like 5 different teams in the last 4 games. I know somehow so one of these guys definitely had a debut there at some point, but the Bulls has, like I said, very structured style of play, very Springbok-esque style of play. So yeah, we'll see how this is gonna go for them. So coming in for the Bulls at number 1, Alu Shakweni, number 2, Juan LC, number 3, Francois Klopper. I've seen Klopper before. I'm not sure about the other 2 guys. Ruan Vermaak, number 5. Van Heerden, number 6. Marcel Coetzee, number 7. Hanro Leibenberg, number 8. Jandre Rudolph, number 9. Ambrose Papier, number 10. Kerwin Bosch has been called back to the... Has he ever played for the Springboks? I don't think he might be. These 2 guys are the 2 Springboks, in addition with Papier and Villarreal. I don't think Bosch has ever played for the Springboks, has he? He's been called back, but I don't think has he ever played for the Springboks? Anyway, one of you guys will let me know. Uh, Stravino Jacobs. I don't know any of these guys. I'm sorry. Harold Vortza, Stedham Hans, Thakir Abrams. I think this guy I've seen him play. And then Villy Leroux coming by number 15. In the reserves now. I don't want to go too much into butchering everybody's names. The only guy I do know is Shithole. He's the only one I've seen playing for the. I think I've seen Schoonman play as well before. This is a different Umchutnu from the one in the Sharks. Sorry, no, Shark from the one in the Stormers, but I might have seen Ludwig before as well. But boy, I'm not too sure with these guys. Yeah, but definitely seen Shithole before, 100%, multiple times. So yes, let me know how you guys see this matchup. I think the All Blacks will win this, but it might not be as easy as everyone think that it could be. So we'll talk about Billy Proctor shoulder blade injury. Royga was pulled off precautionary issues for a tight leg. So he's gonna be okay. Tight calf. So he's gonna be okay. He's not injured. Just probably nursing a tight calf without being overstressing the player. David McKenzie's gonna be okay. We're gonna talk about this. Dion Fourie, the 40-year-old veteran, super Bok, has been called back into the Springbok team. Here's the thing: this guy's so resilient. I thought like a couple years ago when he had that injury where someone landed on his knee or something, and then I thought it was done. And then I think this year again he got landed on the knee. I thought it was done again. And then he came back for the Stormers, and now he's back at the Springboks after his performance against the All Blacks, which was just so resilient, such a great inspirational person for everybody to look up to. I think Ethan de Groot, I am Groot, signed to 2019 with the Landers. So the haka for Ma'a Nonu on Tuesday, I think a lot of people don't understand and why all the Kiwis are crying quite a bit if you see them on the websites. It's because the haka that Ma'a Nonu performed was called the Kampao Pango, which is the All Blacks haka that was first introduced in 2005 against the Springboks. The haka that the All Blacks performed to the Sharks was the Kampao Pango, which is the national haka of New Zealand, which is like the general haka of New Zealand. And a lot of you old guys, veterans of rugby viewers would know that back in the days, the Kampao Pango, the All Blacks haka, is only performed in the must-win match, like against the Springboks in the World Cup final, or something like that. And before this performance from Ma'a Nonu, of the Kampao Pango, every other performance when he performed it for the All Blacks was in the game that the All Blacks must win. That's how sacred this haka is to him and to the All Blacks of the Richie McCaw era, and that's why it was so nostalgic to see him perform the haka, and everybody was all the Kiwis were crying all around both in the North and South Islands. So for the Wallabies, Miles Matasero has been suspended after the shoulder. I thought it was probably could have just been cancelled, to be honest with you. Lots of mitigating factors there, but 3-week sanction, I think it's really, really harsh for what he did. Maria Corambetti has been signed to Ospreys in Wales, but let's have a look at the Wallabies versus Eddie Jones this weekend. So let me get this up. So first of all, after the Wallabies beat Japan on the weekend, Japan actually dropped quite a few in the rankings, world rankings here. So they were 10th, and after losing to Wallabies in Japan at home, they dropped 2 spots to 12. It's not really consequential, like the rankings right now, because the pool has been drawn, but there could be like a really weird long shot situation where 2 teams ends in the same everything, same score, same point difference and everything, and then somehow in a draw between their matches, and then the world rankings will come to determine who gets eliminated. There's some really obscure situation that could happen, but it's very unlikely they'll ever come into play. So Eddie Jones' immediate reaction after losing to the Wallabies, of course, not his fault, right? It's classic Eddie Jones. Team let themselves down. Yeah, the team let themselves down. There was a period between the 20 minutes, last 20 minutes, where they didn't quite take the opportunity to put Australia away. You mean Eddie Jones, the fact that every time your team kicked the penalty goal, right, in the 3rd quarter, it's not by your design, but because your team didn't make the right decision. didn't seize the opportunity. Yeah, we didn't seize the opportunity, mate. You know, could have gone for the win, but we kicked 3 points, and that's just not rugby. That's just not rugby, mate. We're gonna play rugby, and we just didn't play rugby the last 20 minutes against the Wallabies. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he said, right? All right, let me try this. We let ourselves down with a few fundamental errors in the last 20 minutes. Where we had an opportunity to probably put Australia away. That's just classic Eddie Jones, right? Like, Japan has kicked the penalty goal in the third quarter pretty much every game in the last 3 games since July. And he's kind of come out and said we shouldn't have done that, or maybe have seized the opportunity a bit better. Come on, Eddie. Come on, mate. Take some responsibility. And also, he did notice that there's opportunities off the rocks for the Wallabies, something that I talk about in my review, that I think that the pillar and post setup for the Wallabies were missing for the most part of the game. And I was surprised that Japan didn't exploit that after finding some nice breaks earlier in the game against the Wallabies. So here is the lineup for the Wallabies against Japan. I actually expected Japan to put on like a B team, but they didn't. So I do appreciate that Eddie Jones, really trying to make this a good effort of winning this match. So first of all, let's do the Wallabies. Japan, I'm not too familiar with all the players, so I'll just talk about some of the changes that they made. So Wallabies have made a change first up. Angus Bell gets caught up in a starting position with Aiden Ross being dropped. Josh Nasser returns number 2. Tanela Tupou gets caught up off the bench as number 3 jersey ahead of Triple A. Alatoa. Lockie Shaw gets caught up at number 4. Alukim Salaka Loto gets caught in at number 5 as well, because Mars Matasero is hurt. And did Lockie Shaw get a go last week at number 4 as well? No, it was George Kenham, number 4. So 2 guys, new lock combinations come here. Charlie Kale gets caught up at number 6. Tizano gets caught up at number 7, and then Harry Wilson returns to number 8 jersey. Lonergan returns to number 9 jersey for the Wallabies. Carter Gordon returns to number 10. There's a lot of people saying that he should play last week in Japan. I thought he had a leg injury, so maybe he was not ready. Not the fact that it wasn't selected. Maybe they were just being precautionary. Harry Potter returns to number 11 jersey once again. Again, just pass it, man. Harry, just pass it. Just bloody throw it. I just think it's so frustrating that he doesn't pass the ball. Number 12 is Hunter Paisami, who was pretty good last week, especially defensively. Isaac Henry was caught up with the debut at 999 Wallaby. Gets caught up to number 13 with Swali. Once again, hamstring injury. Not injury, hamstring, problems in training. Something that he's out for 2 years, 2 Super Rugby seasons pretty much, because of the hamstring. And he's having hamstring problem again at the Wallabies. Something's going on with either his training schedule or with his, maybe his warm-up or warm-down process. Something's wrong here. Like a young man of like 20, or maybe it's too much creatine. Seriously, it's probably too much creatine. A young man of like 28, or not 28, 22, should not be having hamstring problem like he's an old man, right? I don't even have hamstring problems, and I'm like double his age. It's preposterous. Something's not right in the preparations there. Max Jorgensen, number 14. Tom Wright, number 15. The thing with creatine is that, yes, it's like good and whatnot, but not everyone's body can process it like the way that is fucking described by whatever, right? By the research papers. Not everybody takes it a little bit different. Like when I take creatine, my legs cramp. I can't even, I'll wake up middle of the night cramping if I take creatine. So everybody processes it differently, and I just think that if he's having consistent issue at the legs, and if he's taking too much creatine, or even though this is the prescribed amount, it might still be too much for him. Like seriously, I'm just so frustrated how he could just consistently have the same problem that at only like 22 years of age. Like it's crazy. Like he's been beat down for 20 years or something. But anyway, moving on. Brandon Pagam also coming in number 16. Aiden Ross, number 17, who was dropped from the bench. Pagam also wasn't playing last week. He's been back this week. Massimo De Lutis is going to be potentially be given. Well, he will be given the Wallaby 1,000 cap for the nation. So he's going to be making his debut here. Jeremy Williams gets caught up at number 19. Virgin McWright coming off the bench, number 20. Tate McDermott, number 21. Ben Donaldson retains number 22 jersey, and Philippe Dalgunu retains number 23 for the Wallabies. For Japan now, so we'll have to do a bit of a comparison. Okabe returns to the jersey. Ira stays number 2. The front rowers unchanged. Takeuchi gets number 3. Harry Hawkins gets caught up to number 4, with Cornelson dropped down to the bench. Warner Durns retains number 5 as the captain. Ben Gunther retains number 6. Number 7, this is changed as well. Tienan Costly gets moved up on the bench, number 7. The other guy was Japanese. His name is Shimokawa, who played 7 last week. He's dropped out of the team. Number 8 stays the same. Faulua Makisi retains number 8 jersey. Naito Saito, number 9, retains his spot. Number 10 retains the Ito, retains the spot. So he's outstanding for the Wallabies. Number 11, Yoshikata Yazaki. He is called into number 11 in place of Ito. In place of Tyra Main. Dylan Riley gets moved from 13 to 12, and then Ue Nobo gets called into number 13 ahead of Tua, who played 12 last week. I think Tua may have got hurt from a shot. Kida comes in number 14 ahead of Ueda. And then finally, number 15, Takuru Matsunaga returns to number 15 jersey for the Japan. On the bench, there's a few changes as well. I'm not going to go through it all, but Cornelson's dropped down, and I think the main thing here in the bench you need to know is that Japan has a 5-3 setup this week as opposed to a 6-2 they did last week. They have one extra back on the bench from last week. So Tua is on the bench. He was at the 12 last week. He's not injured. I thought it was injured. So Tua is on the bench. So there's just one extra bench, and then as opposed to the 6-2 from last week for Japan. Swali injury, we'll talk about this already. Delightus, we'll talk about him already as well. So there's some talks that there could be more games at Townsville for the Wallabies. And obviously this Japan game is played in Townsville, so they're going to have 2 Argentinian games in the next 4 years, and then 1 game against the Georgians in 2029 in Townsville. So I don't mind this, but I just think that this game against Eddie Jones surely should have been played on the Sydney Cricket Ground. Surely bring the traitor back home. Come on, Rugby Australia. Could have sold out the stadium next door if you brought him back to Sydney Cricket Ground, right? Like, come on. Yeah, just lost opportunity there. But anyway, so again, this is something I thought was really smart. I think this is the last thing we're going to talk about. Scott Robertson, Razor, apparently has been offered a role to coach the potentially new rugby league team at Christchurch. Now, here's the thing, right? It just says that he's tabled a 4-year deal, but I think people are suspecting this is a publicity stunt, because not only that, obviously he hasn't, but it's a publicity stunt because it just says the ball is in Razor's court at the moment, right? So this just shows, right? Forget about the fact that Razor's being offered here. The fact is, Razor has not responded, and this could be just a publicity stunt to generate interest for the Orca team, for the rugby league team, because this just shows how smart rugby league is, right? All they have to do is send the contract. It doesn't matter if Razor never seen it. It's like in his inbox or somewhere or something. As soon as they send it, they can just tell the media, we've made an offer, right? It's just kind of like, it's like kind of like me here say, hey, Rassi Rasmus, I'm gonna offering you $1 million to come coach the Wallabies. Okay, now, Rassi has probably never seen this video, but the fact that I've made a public offer for Rassi to come over to coach the Wallabies for $1 million, I can now go out and tell everybody in the media, hey, I've made an offer to Rassi Rasmus to come coach the Wallabies. Is he interested? Right, so that itself generates media attention without actually anything like happening, right? Without like any realistic, deal being made. But the fact that it's just throwing it out there generates all this interest is like the goal. It's basically the goal of this move. And I just think like rugby league do these things really good, like really, really well in terms of like generating these, generating public hype. And I think that, us Union boys got to do a little bit better about generating that sort of, interest for our game. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Wallaby game and on Sunday for the All Black game. Cheers.